Hello and welcome back to Formula 1 2019. This time we have got the Bahrain Grand Prix coming up, the second Grand Prix of the season. Of course, if you missed the last episode in Australia, I highly recommend you go and watch that. Obviously, you can see on the stream standings right now, so you know that we came third in that race looking at these standings, which is pretty impressive, I've got to say, on our debut, of course. But our rival, Devon Butler, did manage to secure second place and get 18 points on the board. So he is ahead of us just ever so slightly. But Bahrain coming up today, one of my favourite races on the calendar in terms of the track layout and driving the track. I really enjoy driving this one. So hopefully we'll get a really positive result going into this race. As you can see here as well, some car development has been done. The general maintenance is now out of the way, so that's pretty good. We're still waiting on a bit of powertrain upgrades as well, a few engine upgrades and things like that. That should be quite good coming into the next few races. Practice went pretty well. I enjoyed practice, got the track acclimatization stuff out the way. That was all pretty good, and we were very happy to go into qualifying thinking we were going to get quite a good position. So we start off the flying laps in Q1, of course. 3 parts of qualifying: Q1, Q2, Q3. So we want to try and get into the top 15 in Q1 to progress into Q2. And our first lap, our first flying lap, of course, we leave it quite late for the flying laps. I like to try and leave it to one set of tyres, because obviously when you get to Q3 you have to start on the set of tyres you set your fastest lap on in Q3. So I tried to practice leaving just one lap to try and do the business in qualifying. So Q1 was a pretty easy one to get through. All we have to do is get 15th and things like that. And as you can see, coming around the final corner here, we're going really fast. The split is looking pretty good. And actually, we go fastest in the desert in Q1 with a 1:30.9, which is really, really good. That's a real fast time. We know that we can go that fast, so hopefully we'll do it again as we head into Q2 now, with only a few seconds left on the clock. This time, though, it's a lot slower. We're looking at a 1:32 instead, which isn't great. We're 1.1 seconds down. We had a bit of a bad lap that one. We just couldn't quite get as fast as we did in Q2. And I'm a little bit worried, actually, that perhaps we're not going to get through in that top 10 from Q2. So I'm going to do another lap right now to try and get an extra speedy lap in there. And as you can see, we are ahead on the split right now. We're up by 0.2 seconds. But coming around this final corner here, or one of the final corners here in Sector 2, we spin it, we hit the apex there. Just can't get the traction, lose everything, and that is the lap done. So I go into the pits at the end of this, not quite sure if we're actually going to make it into Q3, because a few cars still have to put laps in. We were in danger of not being inside the top 10. We can't do anything about it now because we spun out. What is the result going to be as the screen comes down? The team start to sort the car out, but we do manage to get through into the top 10, into Q3 to fight for pole position with a 1:32 lap, a very slow one there. Now that we're in Q3, we're looking pretty confident. Hopefully we're going to get a great lap time. We know that we can get it on pole. We know that we can get a sub 1:31 lap. We know that we can do that. So it's just about getting it all together and trying to get a great lap in there as we come up towards the end of Sector 1 here in Bahrain, looking to try and get some good times. The Sector 1 split is going to be really important, I think, as we head down towards it now. Coming across the Sector 1 line now, as you can see, it's very close, to be fair. We're 0.3 seconds down on our rival Devon Butler there, as we don't get the cleanest exit from that corner there, sort of shimmying it all over the place and trying to keep control of it there. Just trying to be too clumsy, I think, trying to get the speed. But as we come around the final corner now, Devon Butler's got a 1:31.0. We've done a 1:30.9 before, but it's not going to be good enough. We can't replicate it. We're 0.8 seconds down. And that's that for the race. We are not on pole.
There's something in the Bahrain air tonight, and I'm not just talking about the sand. Our brightest minds have thrust their brightest ideas into the spotlight of the Sekhir circuit this evening as we look ahead once more to a Grand Prix that has thrilled us so consistently in the past. Formula One returns to the desert today on this exceptional 3.36 mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities. It could be a strategic race, this one, with Sekhir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. Joining me for the Grand Prix once again is Anthony Davidson. Let's talk about Thomas. That was a great podium in the last race, so can they keep that momentum going this weekend?
There are never any guarantees in this business, but certainly the performance last time out would have boosted their confidence coming into this one.
It's time to see how our drivers are stacking up after yesterday's exciting qualifying session. Devon Butler put in a fantastic lap yesterday and will start from pole position with Charles Leclerc alongside. Looking down the rest of the grid, we have Hamilton, Vettel, Max Verstappen, Thomas, Weber, Magnussen, Perez and Daniel Ricciardo, Norris, Sainz, Roman Grosjean and Raikkonen, Stroll, Russell, Daniel Kvyat and Robert Kubica, Albon and Antonio Giovinazzi starts from the back of the grid. And now it's time to head down to the track.
After the points finish last race, let's aim to keep the momentum going.
So the lap in the end was only good enough for 6th and behind our teammate Max Verstappen, which isn't what we want to see, but we're going to try and get the business done in today's race. We're going to go for a one-stop strategy, pitting on lap 3 from our soft tyres onto the mediums for the rest of the race. I reckon that is a strategy to go for as we line up on the grid behind Vettel and Verstappen to our left. 5 lights, they're out, and away we go. We don't get the best start at all, to be fair, actually. And straight away, we're behind our old teammate from Formula 2, Max Weber. He's come down. We try and go down the inside, but Magnussen, he comes out of nowhere from behind us. He has massive contact with Hamilton there, and I think it might have broken Hamilton's wing there or something like that. I think there was some heavy contact for Hamilton as Magnussen has made a massive jump up the field there. We're in the DRS, or the slipstream, sorry, of Hamilton. We try and get it done around the outside. We go quite wide, but we do get the move done on Hamilton there. Fantastic stuff. Up into 5th place now. Verstappen, our teammates, had a great start up into 3rd place already. Magnussen's had the start of the race, though, in the Haas as well, doing extremely well. We've now just got to follow him now. We know that we're faster than the Haas, so as long as we don't make many mistakes, we can get past him. However, we need to get past him quickly if we want to keep up with Devon Butler in 1st, Charles Leclerc in 2nd, and Max Verstappen in 3rd. So we need to get the moves done pretty quickly. A real bad start for Vettel as well. I think he got caught out in the first corner there behind traffic and things like that. We try, and to be fair, Magnussen's brake checked us a bit there, to be fair, and we've gone into the back of him. We've damaged our front wing a little bit, so we're going to lose a lot of downforce there, front wing wise, from that contact with Magnussen there. As we try and go down the inside, there's more contact with Magnussen this side. We're desperately trying to get past him. We have to get past him because you can already see him at distance that Verstappen, the Ferrari and the Mercedes are already miles ahead. We're in the slipstream of Magnussen now at the end of lap 1. We're going to hang it around the outside, and this time we do finally get the move done, but at what cost? Because we have damaged our front wing. This could be dangerous going forward. If we have the lap times, it might be okay, but if we start to drop off, we might have to get this front wing replaced when we go in for our pit stop on lap 3. As you can see, it is affecting us because we have gone wide there on that corner in lap 2. So I'm thinking about maybe swapping out the front wing there. It's our own fault, I suppose. We didn't really brake. We shouldn't have been following so closely into the corner like that, but I didn't expect him to brake so soon, which was quite frustrating. But as we go on to this sort of middle straight of the circuit here, just behind the main pit straight and the grandstand, of course, we're looking at what's going on here, and actually I'm not going to do the front wing. I think we're making ground on Magnussen, so we are faster than him, and the cars in front of us aren't getting ahead of us too much. I'm going to try and leave it for now, but looking on lap 3 now, looking at these tyres, they are getting pretty worn down. That's still going to help us with the grip as well as the front wing with no lack of downforce, obviously. So at the end of this lap, I'm thinking about coming into the pit stop with a scheduled pit stop, of course, as we go past the corner that we spun out in Q2 on. It's such a dangerous corner, that one. It's so easy to spin out on. It's really difficult to keep the traction there and keep going. But as you can see behind us, Vettel has made his way back up the field a little bit now, and he's trying to challenge us for 4th place now. We want to hold on to this 4th place as we bit tetchily go into that corner there. And are we going to go into the pits? We're going into the pits now for our stop on lap 3, a scheduled stop. Hopefully, though, we can get the undercut on everyone. Hopefully everyone else sort of pits pretty late on, and hopefully we'll pit together. That way we've got time with clear air right at the back of the track, I think. We're going to stay right at the back. We're coming out in 20th. Hamilton's dropped all the way down to 19th. I think he had to pit early to get a new front wing after that collision on lap 1. So Hamilton's all the way back. He's made a pit stop. We need to try and get some clean air. We've got that now, obviously, to now get the fast laps in to try and get the undercut on the cars ahead of us. They're all being held up by each other now on tyres that are starting to get more and more damage and wear to them. So we need to get some fast laps going in this race. To help with that, we're going to switch it up to Mix 3, engine mode Mix 3, to try and get a bit more performance out of the engine, a few more faster laps. And as you can see here, on lap 6 now, it's taken a while for cars to pit, but a few of them are now starting to pit. As you can see, we're putting in some personal best laps, which is really, really good. Hopefully, that is going to do all the good work for us. Hopefully, we'll come out of the pits ahead of a few guys that did pit ahead of us. And as we can see here, coming out of the pits, Verstappen is ahead of us. We haven't managed to jump our teammate in the pits, but he was miles ahead of us when we actually went into pit in the end. So we've really caught up with him. We're right on his tail now, and he has been held up by the Williams of Kubica, or the Kubica of Williams, I should say, rather. He's being held up, but he gets the move done around the outside at the end of Sector 1 there. We need to get past Kubica pretty quickly as well. He's not made a stop yet, so that's why he's up in 14th, not down 20th, as usual for the Williams this season, unfortunately. But we need to get the move done. There's a little bit of contact there, but no damage done as we try and hang it around the outside. We've done this move a few times now, hanging it around the outside of other drivers, and it's pulled off again there with Kubica, which is really top stuff. And now we're going to chase down our teammate. He's obviously got the fresher tyres, so he should be faster than us. But if he gets held up by traffic ahead of us, that's pretty good. Again, going through the pits now, we can see all these other teams in the pits, which is really, really good. We've come out ahead of Vettel, importantly, because he was right on our tail before we made our pit stop. So, although we haven't made the jump on Vettel, I think if he pitted at the same time as us, he would be ahead of us already in this race. So I think pitting early did help us out there in the battle with Vettel. We've got Giovinazzi ahead of us, and we try and go down his inside, and we managed to get the job done going into the corner there, which is really good. We get ahead of him, and now we're chasing down Verstappen, looking for the 6th place, sorry, in this race, which is really good stuff. We need to be up in the points. We need to be in the top 5. We need to be finishing there if we want to be challenging for the title come the end of the season. We've got DRS on Verstappen, and now this is where we're going to try and reel him in over the next few laps. We get very close on this straight, but not close enough. I'm braking a bit earlier now going into that corner, knowing that we already had damage from our front wing with our hit on the Magnussen on lap 1. We need to keep close to Verstappen though, but he is our teammate, so we can't get too close. We don't want to damage him, but going round onto the back straight, we are extremely close to him now. We can get into slipstream. We've got the extra slipstream effect now, and we're alongside him, and we are breezing past him going into this final corner. We have to hang it around the outside though. It forces us wide, unfortunately, but we do get the move done. We're ahead of our teammate now, which is fantastic. A few more cars going into the pits, so we are in P4 right now, but Verstappen is still coming back at us down the straight. He's now got the slipstream and the DRS to help him out. We do try and brake late though. We go around the outside, and again, going around the outside has worked for us. We've defended the position successfully from Verstappen, and because we were behind him briefly on the straight, we have DRS now to get away from him. But Vettel, out of nowhere, has come and attacked Verstappen. Verstappen is now fallen victim to Vettel, and Vettel is now ahead of Verstappen now. And Vettel is going to be on our case now. He's got a much more powerful engine in a straight line than us, so we're going to be very, very vulnerable on the 3 straights. This one included, as I think he does have DRS on us now on lap 14. As you can see, he's gaining. We've moved to the middle of the track to try and defend it, to keep the inside line, and it's worked for now on this straight at least, but we're going to have to keep defending hard over the next few straights. We've got this back straight coming up now. There's no DRS on this back straight, which is okay, but he's got the slipstream on us. He's got the more powerful engine. We somehow have to defend on this straight. It's going to be really, really difficult to do so, but I don't think he's quite close enough to make the move on us. You can see the arrows getting closer and closer, telling me where he is, but he's not got the move done on this straight. But the pit straight now, he will have DRS on us. He's got the better traction, and before we even get to the pit entry, he is ahead of us with DRS. We're trying to get in his slipstream now, and I think we're going to try another late braking manoeuvre like we did on Verstappen the lap before. We do go for the late brake. We get around the outside, and again, the manoeuvre around the outside is working an absolute treat for us today. We're getting late on the brakes, and again, we've got that DRS because we were behind him on the pit straight. So we are now miles ahead of Vettel, and we can hold him off for a bit longer now, but we go disastrously wide there onto this turning here, which Vettel takes complete advantage of, and I think that is going to be that now. I think the tyres for us are starting to go off a little bit as we come towards the end of the race. We pitted very early, obviously. Vettel is always going to be faster than us in a straight line in his Ferrari, which has a more powerful engine. We have got a chance there to try and keep him the slipstream, but I've gone a bit wide there, lost time to Vettel, and I think this could be it now. I think we have to sacrifice 3rd place as Vettel now streaks away into the desert night, and now it's all about trying to beat our teammate Verstappen. Verstappen is behind us in 5th place. He wants that 4th place. We beat him obviously in Australia. He wants to get revenge and beat us today, but we want to hold on to this 4th place finish and beat him, obviously. So the race now really is going to be between us and Verstappen, unless, of course, we can do another late braking manoeuvre on Vettel here. We get close, and there's contact again. I left it too late on the brakes, and our front wing is even more broken now. I've got a warning for contact with Vettel. I mean, I'm lacking so much downforce now because of these front wing issues that I've had from trying to brake late to get past other drivers, and it's not worked out well for us. You can see already the effect it's having on my downforce. Vettel is getting away from us. Verstappen is right on my gearbox looking to get past me, and this is just going to be a battle now to keep Verstappen behind us here in Bahrain. We want the points though, and I think we have got the quality to stay ahead of him. We have to drop down to mix 2 now though. We've used up a lot of our fuel now on mix 3 to try and catch up and get ahead of the drivers, so we're on a slightly slower engine mode now, slightly lower downforce, and of course Verstappen with the slipstream can get past us. This time going around the outside doesn't work out for us. We can't get around the outside, and Verstappen going on to the penultimate lap, lap 13 of 14, is ahead of us, which is disastrous for us in our points total. You can see Magnussen is still doing very well. He's in 6th place at the moment, so a great finish for him in the Haas. Another late braking manoeuvre there. We narrowly miss Verstappen. I'm trying my late brakes all the time. It's my way to catch up because I just can't compete with them through fast-paced corners at the moment, so I've got to go for late braking because of the front wing. It's not the best. We go down the inside of Verstappen. There's contact again with my late braking. I need to work on it. Luckily though, no broken front wing and there's no puncture for Verstappen, which is very, very lucky. I've got to stay, as again Verstappen not looking too fast. He's got the better car. He's the number 1 driver, and he's got no damage on his front wing as far as I'm aware, and he's got fresher tyres on us, so really he should be streaking away. But we manage to keep in touching distance with Verstappen now, and we do have DRS going on to this sort of middle straight of the track now, but I think he's going to be a bit too far ahead on us to make this one count now. Verstappen, we are starting to gain on him, but not quite close enough as we try and follow him really closely now, try and just get that slipstream in every possible place now as we head on to the back straight now, which is pretty good. Hopefully, as we go wide there, we catch up with him. We do get a little bit closer here, and if we can get into his slipstream, this is a long straight now, we can get ahead of him. If we can't get ahead of him here, surely with the DRS on lap 14, we can get ahead of him, as we don't brake too late because we don't want to go into the back of him. I want the DRS rather than trying to go for the overtake. We go again a bit wide. The front wing really starting to hamper us now, but we do get DRS down the pit straight. Can we catch him up? We're gaining on him ever so slowly now. Can we go for another move around the outside? It looks like we're going to go for it. We're getting it done. We've nearly got the move done. Verstappen rather, fighting hard, but he does yield in the end. And once again, we've gone down the outside of a driver into turn 1. Using the DRS on the final lap, we have got past him now. The only place Verstappen is really going to be able to overtake us is on these 2 straights coming up. We've got the middle straight, which does have DRS, and then we've got the back straight that also doesn't have DRS rather. It doesn't have DRS at all, so he can't get past us on that straight unless he is really close and can use the slipstream to get past us. But as you can see, he's faded away in those corners. He didn't take them particularly well. All we've got to do now is just stay ahead on this straight, and I think we're going to come home in 4th place. He's not close enough to make the overtake. He may get DRS, but he's not going to be close enough to get the overtake done on this straight, which is fantastic stuff. We just have to defend heavily now on this final back straight. I think I'm going to position the car in the middle of the track, so he's got to choose which side to go for, but if we position it in the middle of the track, we're defending that inside line into the corner. Although we've made the outside line work for us so many times in this race, defending the inside is what we want to do, because opening up on the inside, that's just going to open the door to him to secure the points that in the 4th place finish. Charles Leclerc wins the race, but we do defend the inside, and we've got a short run down now to this finish line, and we are going to bring it home in 4th place, just ahead of the teammate.
Can't complain about that one. That was an excellent drive.
So, another excellent win from Ferrari. What do you think it was, Ant, that gave them the edge over the competition today?
So as we watch Leclerc celebrate his first win in Formula 1 like he should have got in real life in Bahrain, we're contemplating on our 4th place finish, which I think was a really top quality finish, especially with the front wing issues we had, and to beat our teammate That was fantastic. As you can see here, you can see the race results in full pretty much. Pretty good results. Lewis Hamilton recovered up to 9th in the end. But for the Drivers' Championship, we have dropped down to 4th following the win from Charles Leclerc. But that's pretty good. We can still take 4th place. But in the Constructors, we have dropped down to 3rd behind Ferrari after, of course, Leclerc winning that race. So we've got some work to do in the next few races to catch up with those guys, of course. As you can see here, though, we are now beating Verstappen in our rivalry. We have to pick a rival soon who's not Verstappen, obviously. I don't know how we pick that. We'll have to pick that pretty soon, actually. But we're beating him 11-8 so far in the rivalry, which is pretty good at the moment. I'm pretty pleased with that. For R&D for the next race and the next few weeks, we're going to try and develop the front wing a little bit. Try and get, obviously I've damaged it quite heavily, so we need to try and develop it and get a bit more endurance and a bit more downforce from it. We're also going to try and improve the durability to the internal combustion engine, because that's always an engine part that starts to wear pretty quickly. So we need to get that out of the way. Anyway, that's the end of today's episode, and I will see you next time in China for the next race, and I'm looking forward to it. See you then.